Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing a flashback episode, so we're going to review Star Trek Into Darkness a second time. And we bring you movie news. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens.
And the old guy's here.
He's here.
So who has the description of this movie?
After the crew of the Enterprise, sorry.
Go ahead.
Find an unstoppable force of terror within their own organization. Captain Kirk leads a manhunt to a war-zone world to capture a one-man weapon of mass destruction.
Another IMDb master description.
I still should
How do you
prob-
have an unstoppable force, yet they're going to go and stop
it, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like, why do they have locks on 24-hour restaurants?
Yeah, well.
It meets an immovable object, Captain Kirk.
The word, I gotta say, the worst kept secret of this whole movie, including when it was in theaters,
secret.
was the fact that who Benedict Cumberbatch was supposed to be.
Oh,
Everybody said it was Khan, but they never said it. They tried to keep it a secret.
Everybody knew.
There's even a thing where he was reading how they didn't tell him until a week after he said yes.
Yeah, it had already been cast, and a guy flew a week after the casting to London with the script, handcuffed to himself.
Oh,
Just like a James Bond spy novel or something. I'm bringing the super
God,
Scott. Can you
really?
believe? Yeah. Had a briefcase that was handcuffed to his
Hopefully
wrist.
it was a Samsonite. And,
Man,
I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of silly.
and Zachary Quinto still plays a bitchy Spock.
I like him.
yeah, I liked him back in Heroes when he was Skyler,
Oh, he played a good bad
Skyler.
Yeah, Styler. Yeah.
Skyler,
He
same
played
difference.
a good bad guy.
He does play a
Yeah.
good bad guy. And he even turned out to be a decent good guy
Yeah,
too,
he did.
in his own little ways. But
He's a good actor. I
he's an
expect
amazing
a lot of
actor.
things. I expect a lot of things out of him.
This version of Spock I just couldn't stand, but it may not. But his acting was amazing.
Well-
It's the character I don't. This version of the character I don't like.
Yeah, it is the version of the character, and they all explain this in the first Star Trek one that they recently re-released. The Star Trek theme, and it's in a different universe, so it's a different Spock, different timeline, blah, 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 blah. If you guys have to come up with this much stuff to justify a movie, shut up.
And there's a third one coming out too.
Anyways, but I like this one better than the first one. I think the storyline was better. I think the bad guys were better. The aliens were better.
I think they learned a lot off the first one.
I think they did.
I was telling John, I should have sat down and watched the first one again first, and then watched the second one, just to see the progression right next to each other.
Yeah.
I was gonna say before we start.
Uh-oh.
I thought we were
I just realized. Sorry, this was my fault. I was gonna give what our original rating. This was
yeah.
episode number 54 for Real Flix Reviews, the one we did, and it looks like James wasn't able to see it, even though he was in the episode, and unfortunately. The other co-host that was there, he's not here this time, so it was just me.
So what did Ryan give it out of curiosity?
So I gave it a 3 to 5, and Ryan gave it a 4 to 5.
Okay.
So I wish he was
I'll be
here
darned.
to, kind of contribute a bit, but unfortunately he's sick.
So, the thing that bothered me a little bit is the change in the Klingons. Because the ridges and the makeup design on them was a lot more subtle.
And they never had blue eyes.
Yeah, it was a lot more subtle than
Yeah.
the Klingons that we were introduced to with the original Star Trek universe.
Well, the original Star Trek.
Timeline.
Well, the original, especially when it came to the original Star Trek, the Klingons were just people.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
talking about the
that's true.
TV series.
Yeah, TV
Yeah,
series.
the
It
original
wasn't-
TV series.
It wasn't until TNG and Beyond where they had very hard set ridges. I kind
They
of
progressed.
I liked this version of it, but it's still I liked the Lieutenant Commander Worf's version of it, the more hard.
Of course, we didn't see the Klingons very much in
No.
this movie, so I'm willing to forgive it.
And those
it's
weird.
just
I did like the ridge piercings.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool though.
The thing that really has really bugged me about the Star Trek, basically the series and the TNG and all the universes, including this one, is I want to see the Neogenics War.
That would be
I
cool.
want to see it, dude. Abrams, before you die,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Seriously, do it. Because I mean, we
So
get
you
we
should
get a
ex-
little teaser of Khan and
why didn't
Wrath
you-
of Khan.
Why
and
didn't you
this one.
explain a little bit more?
Well, they actually they really didn't cover it much in this
No, they
film, did
didn't.
they?
No,
Anyways,
no.
the
They didn't cover it
Neogenics
at all.
War that they were hinting to was that they basically had evolved the human race into an advanced superhuman race that was trying to
Super
wipe
warriors.
out well, they didn't start out to wipe them out,
Right.
but it came out later that they were going to replace humankind with their humankind, and it basically became an all-out civil war of humans,
Right.
fighting each other with huge weapons. The weapon advancement went up and up and up, and that's kind of what Benedict Cumberbatch's
Exactly.
Khan
Right.
basically was.
He was the
and
leader
they
of the
froze
group.
him, and yeah. So, but they've always hinted at how horrible it was and how devastating of a war it was and what they've learned from it, what they came away with, but they've never actually shown what the war was like.
See,
I would be excited to see.
Maybe another opportunity.
I
We'll
wonder
see.
if
Maybe some fan fiction can come out and do
know?
some really good shorts.
I wonder if they don't like doing that because Star Trek still has this very utopian vision of the future.
And where you don't need money, you work
Yeah.
for the benefit of humankind.
Yeah. So I
and-
wonder if that would ruin the vision of the future.
I definitely want to clean toilets and mop floors for humankind.
Hey, I
you
want to
know?
see the she cells. Explain the she cells.
Yeah,
Wrong
Real
movie.
sci-fi fans will
group-
know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
they will.
Wrong movie. I do want to say though, my favorite actor in this whole entire movie still is Carl Urban.
Yeah.
He does the best job honoring DeForest Kelly, aka Bones.
He actually does.
He
a
does.
good
I
job.
think Scotty Simon Pegg, he's overplays it at times.
But I always thought that was kind of the way
And then,
James Doohan did it though.
The Russian guy.
Not really. The
Chekhov?
The Czech guy.
Chekhov. Yeah.
Chekhov. I think his accent is a
Anton-
little bit
Anton
extreme.
Yelchin?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I actually think he's
Russian.
Russian.
He probably is.
It's the real
Yelkin.
accent.
Yelkin, whatever.
And did anybody else have the same shock when we saw Peter Weller's? I remember seeing this in theaters. I'm like, crap, it's RoboCop.
Cop. That's exactly.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm thinking, please say dead or alive. You're coming with me. Please.
You know, if
You
there
know-
was one actor if I was disappointed with one actor in this movie, it's him.
Yeah.
Really?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
yeah.
just, ever since RoboCop and some of the movies, the guy just bugs me. There's
Okay.
no redeeming feature.
I don't
think about him.
I just think
His character was very one-dimensional.
Yeah, that's
one
what I was
dimensional,
gonna say.
maybe two. I thought it fit perfectly for being a warmonger. Kind of the character he fit, I thought was perfect for his ability.
But I gotta say, you got Chris Pine playing Captain Kirk.
Right.
You got Carl Urban playing Bones, Simon Pegg doing Scotty, John Cho doing Sulu. I think these guys really, and these are the guys I'm highlighting as I think
Yeah.
they're doing really good homage to the original cast.
Yeah.
I really think they are.
The guy John Chu.
Like the Sulu. When,
Sulu was
Yeah.
really good.
When, was it Carl Urban turned to him and goes, remind me not to piss you off.
That was
Yeah. He did great.
That was my favorite part.
Because,
That
I
was-
mean,
yeah, that was good.
even, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on his name? The Asian guy who played it, Sulu, the original.
Decay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he even went, at certain times in the show, he did a very good serious thing where he could change his demeanor
Yeah.
really well in there.
I wonder what some of the surviving actors, and I don't know, I didn't look this up because I just thought about it. I'd love to see what some of the surviving actors of the original series thought about these movies. Completely refresh of their characters.
I don't know. Now, I didn't. The thing is I was one of those guys who got introduced to Star Trek: The Next Generation, TNG as people refer to it, first, and then try to watch Star Trek, the original, with Kirk and Scotty and all those guys.
That won't work.
And it doesn't.
No.
It really,
No.
really doesn't.
No.
And I've said it before: is watching TNG first really ruins you on the original Star Trek.
Yeah, it really does.
And it's really hard to get into. I think I've made it to the first season, and that's far
Because
as I'm at.
because the original one is a very 60s. I'm sorry.
It
Yes.
is. It's very
It is.
dated.
It's a very product of its time.
We were still been the puppets and things. I mean, the aliens looked horrible. They were sponges glued together. I
Yeah.
mean, things were terrible. But
it
it was
wasn't
the start. It was the idea of it.
I would say
Yeah.
it wasn't Lost in Space bad.
No, you're right. It wasn't. But I'll tell you the show that I'm disappointed didn't stay longer was Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I started liking that.
I'll tell you, I try to get people to watch it. You're going to like it, but it's not. Yeah, I know, but remember, it's previous. It's
Yeah, it's the precursor.
Yeah, and it was a very good series. I'm sorry it was so short. Bakula always does a great job.
Yeah.
I really like him. And anyway, I was disappointed.
Yeah, I
off
liked
the
Enterprise
track
too.
by quite a bit. I really like this movie. It's still entertaining. Still have a good time watching it. I'm a Star Trek fan. I mean, I grew up with the originals, and I know exactly what you're talking about because I could see that easily.
Yeah.
That's why I thought that Enterprise was a much better done version, of the prequel. So,
Of
anyway.
the prequels. I mean, you have. Oh my gosh, how many came out? You got Star Trek TNG, you got Star Trek.
There's Deep Space Nine,
Deep Space Nine,
Voyager.
Voyager.
Right.
I mean, it is, and then you got Enterprise, of course.
Well, you have all the original movies too.
And the original movies. I didn't even get into those.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Wrath of Khan.
Right.
You got let's start at the beginning. Star Trek the movie,
Right.
then Star Trek Wrath of Khan, and then it goes into the TNG ones, right?
Yep.
And I
No,
don't remember.
you're
there's
missing.
5.
You're forgetting the Undiscovered
Oh,
Country.
you're right.
Right.
Yes, Undiscovered Country.
And I think there's another one after that. I
Is
thought,
there?
but I could be wrong.
But I know there's like 5 of the TNG ones because you got Nemesis, you got
Genesis, Star Trek Generations.
Generations. I think
I
there's
didn't
5.
count, so I
Anyways,
don't know, but yeah.
but yeah, there's a huge universe in this one that they made a ton of stuff on, and have made a lot of money on. And I'm actually excited that this is dragging in a whole new generation of Star Trek people that probably weren't into it from the TNGs or the Voyagers or the Deep Space Nines.
Well, I'm glad they're planning on doing another movie. They're planning on doing another series.
Are they?
Yeah, there's some talks about that. What's that?
Well, I wanted to comment
Sorry.
a little bit, go back about something. Sorry about one of the complaints I remember originally reading. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Was about how if you look how the technology looks in this one versus the Next Generation movies.
Right.
Next Generation looks like it's like old school.
Yep.
That was one of the complaints I remember reading is
Hold
the
on.
timeline doesn't look right. The way that makes it look.
The timeline looks just fine to me because you
technology.
don't have things like tricorders.
True.
You don't have those introduced yet.
Well,
You
no,
d-
he had that. Bones did have that weird looking like drafting cursor. with a
Yeah,
circle.
but it wasn't the same thing.
yeah, it wasn't the
it
flip
couldn't
phone
do the diagnostics
Yeah.
that the tricorders could.
Right.
Because you could just look at the tricorder and go,
it
like
does
that.
everything.
You got AIDS, you got herpes. We can cure all this with little shots.
They can tell you
There
what the
go.
rock is
You're
made
good.
out of.
So, yeah.
Everything.
They haven't introduced any of that into this one. They don't have the simple phasers. Or the advanced phasers, I should say.
Even though I like their phasers, flip. Yeah.
So they don't have certain things like that. And I mean, I kind of like seeing the Klingon weapons that they pulled out, like the I can't remember what the big knife thing is called, but
Oh, I just drew a blank.
yeah, I
I
did
hate
too.
that.
Or the knives and things like that. I thought
You mean
those
the
are still
batleth?
yeah, the batleth.
batleth.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Jeez. Somebody
long
had to be a
enough.
real Trekkie here. Yeah, so those are still cool. There were certain things that they haven't introduced yet that are still coming out, and they didn't have, like they said that where they were doing the chasing warp technology. That was something that was in TNG, but it wasn't in Star Trek.
They also didn't have the computer.
The computer. There's a lot of things that the technology
That's true.
hasn't had from TNG. So those people saying that.
Well, I think they just
And
meant
it's
visually.
also a different universe, people. This was put together in the first one, that it's a different time frame, so the different things are going to come out at different times.
I don't think it's fair to tie the two together either, because this
Yeah.
is a movie, and in a movie you have opportunities to do things that you don't do in a TV series.
Right, just because of cost-wise that you can.
Cost, cast,
Yeah.
whole, there's all kinds of things, and so I don't want the audience to continuously compare a TV series with a movie when the movie has an opportunity to do much more in a 2 hour to 2.5 hour type of situation.
I do think though that's hard, especially when it's something like Star Trek that has so much TV shows. But I agree.
Well, the problem is, and J.J. Abrams has to know this, the problem is that people are die-hard Star Trek fans.
Oh, yes, they are.
If you screw something up, you miss. I mean, if you go into the spoilers in IMDb on this, that's not the longest list I've ever seen. But people are so fanatical to even where a hatch is wrong.
I
You
know.
know,
It's
when you get to
insane.
that point,
Oh, no.
you're all right. Uber fan.
Hold on. My favorite one was they have in Star Trek The Next Generation. I saw this, and I've read this before, on multiple occasions. He didn't push the same sequence that he did in this episode at this time to go into warp.
Oh.
They have that on there, too.
Yeah.
Do you guys realize that
Yeah.
actor has a blank screen in front of him?
He's just pretending.
So here's, I guess, to kind of get what they're showing.
I've read that on multiple occasions in Generation.
About how pedantic. There's a goof real quick on IMDb that says when Spock Prime appears on the view screen of the Enterprise, the image is flipped. Leonard Nimoy has an enlarged earlobe on his right ear, but here it appears on the left.
See? It's things like that. They even have, one of them was also a number on the ship. There was a number written on the wall.
Oh.
The number was wrong. They caught that. It's like, oh my God, people, how many times did you watch this movie?
Now, I was trying to now, you got to remind me on which one. Star Trek Generations, right, John?
That's the one with where Captain Kirk and Picard.
Yes. Okay, so that's the one where they meet.
Yeah, and
to-
spoiler, Kirk dies at the end.
No, that's the wrong one. I was trying to think of the movie one where they went back in time,
That's the
back in time
that's-
to talk to the guy who came up with the first FTL drive.
Oh no, that's the one with Zephyrin Cochrane.
Yes.
That's
Right.
the second Next Generation movie, second or third.
Okay. Anyways, what I was
Because
going to bring up
that's
there,
the one with the Borg.
what I was going to bring up there is that one was another one where they could change the sequence of events to lead up into Star Trek. Like it was
Oh, we forgot Search
Brett
for
Spinner.
Spock.
Yeah,
Brett
Yeah, you're
Spinner's
right.
character. I can't think of it.
Data.
Number one.
Yep.
Lieutenant
Whatever.
Commander Data. Number 1 was Will Riker.
Will
Right.
Riker, that's right. Anyway, Will
No, I
Riker
have never
was
watched
the
Star
one that
Trek
gave him the
before.
quote that he kept on quoting later on.
Right.
Remember? He gave him the quote that
Oh,
Zephyrin Cochrane
Yeah,
was quoted saying, being the
It-
first one to say.
Yeah.
So it's like that
I-
type of thing always
it's,
throws me for a loop. It's like, okay, now who was the one who
Right.
initially gave him the
So the
quote? Anyways.
quote is, don't try to be a great man, just be a man and let history make its own
Yeah.
judgments.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is one of my all-time
It's a
favorite
great
quotes.
quote.
It's a great quote. Oh,
But-
yeah, and the Final Frontier.
But it's one of those, yeah, like I said, there's
There's
one
at
of-
There's so many movies we
There's
forgot
a
about. We
I
didn't
think
even-
there's at least 5 and 5. Between TNG, there's 5, and I think the original one, there's 5.
Yeah, so that's like 10, and then... Anyways, but yeah, that was one of the ones that came up, and I was thinking, like, that is another one where they can have the whole timeline thing. Like, this one is a different timeline type
Right.
thing.
Oh, by the way, Spock said a quote that made me think of you. Said, "I am Vulcan, sir. We embrace technicalities." As soon as I heard that, I'm like,
Yeah,
that
I thought
reminds
that
me a
was
lot of
pretty good.
James.
I thought that was pretty good. But this one, I think, really came up with a really interesting storyline that I thought was pretty cool. I think the acting was really well done. I enjoyed it. I think, even the battle sequences and the fighting and stuff was that. And for me, it really didn't have the 2.5 hour feel, which is actually
it didn't.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
But it didn't really have that, oh man, have I been here for 2 hours feel to it. It's like, oh, they have only half an hour to wrap this up. Oh, come on.
You didn't have the didn't have the slog attached.
Yeah,
to it.
you
So-
kind of wanted it to keep going a little bit and have
So my
more
wish,
fun.
I got a wish for this next movie. The heck with the Klingons. Let's fight the Borg.
Yeah, the Borg would be
There's an
pretty cool.
opportunity to do some really
There is.
wild stuff with the Borg.
Yeah, and I mean to have the Borg this now I like I said, I only made it through the first season of the
Yeah.
original Star Trek. Was the Borg in there? Oh
No,
that
the
was
Borg.
something.
No.
The Borg was brought by Q
Yes, that's right.
and TNG Next
That's
Generation.
Right. Yeah, I remember that because he kicked
And they
him
carried
out,
it. Yeah, they carried it in TNG and they followed it up in Voyager.
And they also, I think, they also did some episodes in Deep Space Nine. I
Yes,
think
they did. They kinda,
not a lot as I
with
remember.
Q, yeah. I don't think Deep Space Nine ever faced the Borg.
Really? I thought
No,
they
I
did.
don't think so.
Well, they had
They
the
had-
other issues.
Yeah.
Yes, they did have.
Cardassians.
Yeah, that was something that I wish they had
Like,
more.
wasn't a bunch of sisters or
You
something?
know the
And allegedly, the next Star Trek movie on this universe will not be directed, but produced by J.J. Abrams because he's doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because he's both doing Star Trek and Star Wars.
Well, it shows you how
Star
good
Wars is another great.
Oh yeah,
great thing too.
I'm way looking for it.
now-
See, that's what happens when you're a sci-fi
Sci-fi
fan.
fan.
I mean, I just love it all. I
you
want
gotta-
to see it all.
You
Now,
got to
one
pick
of
a
the
side,
things I
man. Got to pick
enjoyed,
a side.
and I thought it was hilarious, is that they explain the tribbles in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great.
Wait, well,
because
I don't-
Bones injected the tribble
Mm-hmm.
with Khan's DNA. So the replication DNA that he had that helped him to live a long time, to regenerate his body when he's injured, the strength and all that stuff, Bones injected in the tribbles, and that's how they ended up with the tribbles and with tribbles.
Tribbles.
In that
Oh, yeah.
episode, I thought that was a pretty cool little thing that
Homage.
if you're not a
Yeah.
fan, you won't catch. But if you do kind of know something about Star Trek, you'd catch it.
So what do you give it? What do you give this Into Darkness?
I give this one a 4 out of 5. I think the storyline was great. The little idiosyncrasies that they threw in as homages to the original Star Trek were a lot of fun. And you little people that nitpick the crap out of it, get a life. Really.
Well,
get a life.
If they do it in
Talking
such a way
yourself
where it's
are there,
kinda-
are you?
Where it's kind of funny, I'm all right with it.
Yeah,
but,
when it's funny,
uh,
when it's like this hatch didn't open
yeah.
in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. It's
'cause-
like, whoa.
Rob, what do you give it?
Yeah, I definitely give it a 4 out of 5. I liked it when I saw it in the theaters. I liked it when I just saw it a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining.
I guess I originally gave it a 3 out of 5. I guess, listening to their arguments, I guess I'll give it a 4 out of 5. There's
Yeah.
parts of this movie to me that were very slow, but overall, some of the scenes like Captain Kirk and what's his name, Khan going in outer space, stuff like that was not really a part of the original series.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some outer space stuff, but nothing like that.
Nothing that intense.
Yeah, so definitely give it a 4 to 5.
And so Ryan
right, how
has
about
texted in. He hasn't phoned it in.
Okay, so we.
He keeps his original rating 4 out of
4
5. He said, much better story than the first one, and I prefer the corporate-style bad guys to the insanity of the Red Skull massive. The supporting cast was real strong in this one also. He's a real big fan of Cumberbatch. So
Red
Oh,
Skull
well, I don't
masks.
blame him.
I
The guy's
know.
good.
I
They
think I
look
kind of
more-
know what he's talking about.
They
but,
look-
that's kind of funny.
You talk about the Klingons. They more look like hockey masks.
No, weren't they?
In the first one?
Yeah, it wasn't Klingons. It was Cardassians.
No.
You're talking about Deep Space Nine?
No. The
Well, first Star Trek, it wasn't Klingons.
No,
the
it was
other guys.
Vulcan. No, it was not Vulcans. It was
Not the Cardassians. It was I know.
Romulans.
Romulans. Thank you.
That's
It
right.
was something.
Yeah.
Lins. Yeah, Romulans, Cardassians,
So,
Vulcans.
so,
Can you guys get something that doesn't end in ins?
so next we're gonna switch to the House of Cards, and we're gonna go to James on that one.
Again.
Okay, so I am really sticking with my thing that he is gonna end up killing somebody very soon. Okay,
And getting
now,
away with it.
I actually enjoyed this episode.
Mm.
That's something for me to say because, as you guys have probably heard with my other ones, I really have not been enjoying.
And
these.
there was only one minor like Zach Morris moment,
yeah,
which I thought
no,
was
there
funny.
Two.
There was
There-
two
there
because
was
the
two.
first one was a
The other
slight.
one was a silent one where he's looking at you and
During the press conference,
During the press
yeah.
conference, and then so it's the president one, and then there's another one that he did as well.
Mhm.
I'm not really into this whole whoring thing that he's got going on with the little journalist chick. It's kind of getting a
Yeah.
little burned and old on me, but hey, whatever. So, anyways, I actually enjoyed this episode. I'm kind of looking at it's starting to pique my interest a little bit. I won't say I'm looking forward to the next episode, but I'll watch it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think it's interesting though how she's starting to play with other people, like getting that one chick from her last job.
Yeah, getting
Into-
her kind of baited and hooked.
Yeah, so she's starting to play the game, which I think is a little interesting, even though she's letting herself be played.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's funny that you said you really like this one. I was the other way around.
You didn't like this at all?
I thought it was kind of boring, personally.
Yeah, it seemed to me like it was all about him. His library, his old school, and his drinking buddies, they all get drunk, and sing songs, and I don't know. It just
Did you watch the right episode?
was 8.
I thought we did 7.
7 was last week.
Which one did we watch? We watched the one with the president, right?
Yeah.
Where he did the signing.
That was last week.
Did I not do the right episode last week?
We watched chapter 8.
I haven't watched chapter 8.
We
I like the episode right before the ones around.
Tell you what we're gonna do.
I was pretty certain.
see. This is oddly enough. This is why this chapter shit actually is very confusing.
Yeah, give
Yeah,
us an
it
actual
is.
name.
So we're gonna have to recheck and see what we all watched,
Yeah.
and figure out where we're at,
So-
and try to get on the
Well, I
same
watched
page.
chapter 7. They watched
Well,
chapter
chapter
8.
8, yeah.
I like chapter 7.
'Cause
Seven was
probably
good.
won't like it.
Because I watched the one where they did the signing for the bill.
Yeah.
That he forced last week.
yeah.
Remember he got hit and knocked down, and the guy said,
Right.
The guy said, you just committed a felony, but
Right.
instead you're going to sign this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. The episode we watched this week was the signing of the bill.
Yeah.
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 But
Where was the drinking buddies?
It was talking about the AA meeting then, probably.
no.
That's what I'm trying to think.
No,
There
no.
was drinking
Eight
buddies?
was about he got a library at the school that he went to.
We might have watched different episodes.
I'm telling you, I hit chapter 8.
Well, what we'll do is we're off the air. We'll figure out what exact
So
episode
you guys
to
all
watch.
watched 7 then. I was the one who watched
So
8.
we'll see what happens. I'm kind of confused now.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually trying to pull this one up.
So he's doing that, and let you know we have a Facebook page. Love us, hate us. Do you think we suck? Let us know. We'll read you on air and help pause for the cause and donate to Old Guy Tech TV to help keep the lights on.
Yeah, like anybody watches.
No,
this.
you're right. Chapter 8 is the library.
Yeah.
And chapter 7 is Frank helps Peter get ready for his governor race.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the one I watched.
Ah,
Okay.
watch 7.
Well, that was 7.
Yeah.
We were supposed to watch 8 tonight. For
Wow.
tonight's view was 8.
I thought it was 7. I thought we said 7.
I'm confused, but
So
No.
we're confused.
So
we're going to get
Somehow
caught
we managed to talk about
two did it.
last week's episode last week.
up. Yeah.
So with that
Who's
said,
the
So
old-
with that
who's the
said,
old
we're
guy
going to
now?
be watching chapter 8. We'll be reviewing chapter 8 and 9 next week.
Yeah, there you go.
why don't
We'll
we
get
just
caught up.
why don't we just chapter 8 so he doesn't we can get caught up to
I
him.
don't mind. I'll sit there and watch it.
I
I
like
like it.
chapter
I like the
7.
series.
And,
I
and
might
so
not like 8.
we're going to go on a movie news. So my first one in movie news is a true rumor because according to this, there's no timetable set, no film production, let alone release date. The studio has yet to talk about this movie, and it's the Kingsman Secret Service sequel.
Ah.
According to this, the film has gone on to gross over $400 million worldwide.
Wow.
It is a bona fide hit for Fox, and which excites me because I actually really like this movie.
It's a good movie.
If you guys
Too
have
bad
some,
we don't have Samuel L. Jackson with the speech impediment anymore.
if you guys are interested, if anybody's interested,
Fake.
there's some very interesting fan theories on what's the next sequel gonna be. My favorite one is the guy who trained. The new guy is actually going to come back to life, turn out to be a bad guy.
Okay.
So
I'm good with that.
So it'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
The next one is about a movie series I've actually kind of liked, Divergent, and they're casting Jeff Daniels, which is cool. I like Jeff Daniels, but they're going to do something that it's starting to really piss me off. They're going to make it into 2 movies. I'm beginning to really hate that Harry Potter. It's the first one I remember seeing that with. So it'll be like the
Blame Jackson, right? Peter Jackson.
No, he managed to turn a small book into 3 movies. That was milking
That's
it.
talent.
Yeah, that's amazing. It was so it'll be the Divergent series Allegiant Part 1 and Part 2. Apparently the 2 initial installments grossed respectively 289 million and 271 million to date, which is pretty good actually. But I'm still rather pissed it's going to be 2 movies.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
What are you
Kill
gonna
him.
do? What are you gonna do?
And
What are you gonna do?
and the next
Get
one's
some cut and paste and put them together.
right. The next one is a little bit of TV news if you're a big fan of anime. For the first time and probably since maybe the early 90s, they're going to have a new Dragon Ball Z series.
You know, I actually, I didn't watch it until probably 8 years ago, all the Dragon Ball Zs.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say all the Dragon Ball Zs because they changed a bunch on the titles. But I watched them all. I actually enjoyed it. I hated the live action movie that they put together. That was horrible. If you guys haven't seen that movie, skip it. But I'd be interested in checking this out. Are they doing it live action, anime style?
It's gonna be animation. According to this, by the way, apparently the Japanese version finished its run in '96. In U.S. it was '96 to 2003.
Ask them when they started it.
Right? It doesn't actually say.
Oh, they don't say when it ran to?
Apparently, what I've read, and I can't find it, is allegedly it's going to be after the Mujan Buu, that pink dude who turned everybody into candy.
Yes.
Apparently, it's going to be that and after. So it'll be completely bypass Dragon Ball GT, which apparently the original guy didn't have anything to do with.
Okay. Yeah, because if I pull it up, I didn't keep that. Yeah, there was a lot of series of Dragon Ball, and it was an interesting take on it. You got the original series started in 1986, Dragon Ball. So it was on for a long time.
So prepare for episodes of screaming before anything happens. And also
Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, is that what it is?
I don't know. And because right here, I read it was going to be called Dragon Ball Super. Something with Super in the title.
Well, I have right here Dragon Ball Z on IMDb Resurrection F.
Maybe that's it. I haven't really.
Oh, this is a movie.
Because the other one you guys want to check.
This is a PG hour and 30 minutes.
If you want to check out, there's actually a new Dragon Ball Z movie called Battle of the Gods. It's actually pretty cool if you want to check it out. And next week we're gonna do a random pick. So basically, pick whatever you want. And I've been really hard pressed on what to pick because I'm kind of used to genres at this point. So I'm going to do a movie that I actually really like, but unfortunately my co-hosts probably are not going to like me. It's a David Lynch movie. You see?
I like the look he got from Raw.
And it's the one film that David Lynch wish he could erase from his filmography, which, by the way, I think is hilarious. Because I love it. We're doing Frank Herbert's Dune. And we're just
Hold on. Now, this is an actual question. Mm-hmm. And John knows it's a legit question. Which version?
Just the theatrical release.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's only about 3 hours of your life you won't get back. That's okay. It's better than 8.
I love this movie, so I can give you my rating right now if you really wanted. So
Me too.
see, I was discussing with him how much shit I'm going to get for this,
Yeah.
but hey, I like it. This time it'll be worth getting harassed.
Actually, it'll be interesting to watch again and see how badly it still doesn't hold up.
Well, I'm trying to save. Are
we just going to do our movie review right now?
No,
right now. Come on.
No. This
has been burned in my memory. I can't get it out.
Where's your thumper?
This
Just to get those thumpers going.
This train wreck's ending very soonly. I gave the original, in episode 54, I gave Star Trek Into Darkness a 3 to 5. Ryan gave it a 4 to 5. This episode, the very first flashback episode, I gave it a 4 to 5. James gave it a 4 to 5. Ryan gave it a 4 to 5. The old guy gave it a 4 to 5. Next week, we're doing Frank Herbert's Dune, the theatrical version. Yay. And as always, see you next week.
Thank you.